All right, today we're talking about scarcity, which is this huge idea that kind of rules our world. Seriously. It's an idea that shapes literally everything from what's in your wallet to, well, the future of our entire planet.
Have you ever had that feeling where you just can't have it all? I mean, you really want that new phone, but you're also trying to save up for a vacation. Or you're dying to binge that new show everyone's talking about, but you've got a huge final you need to study for. It's that classic problem, right? You just can't do everything you want all at the same time.
Well, believe it or not, that nagging feeling, it's not just you. That is the fundamental problem, like ground zero for the entire field of economics. This tension, this gap between our unlimited wants and our limited resources. That's the core dilemma that pretty much every single person, every company, and every country has to figure out.
So if this feeling is so universal, what's the official explanation? Let's dive into how economics actually frames this whole problem.
Yeah. The famous economist Lionel Robbins had a pretty dramatic way of putting it. He basically said, "We have been turned out of paradise. The world we live in, it's not some place of infinite abundance. Nope. It's a world of choices, a world of trade-offs. And that simple fact right there, that's the heart of it all."
Okay, so here's the more official definition. Scarcity is basically the fundamental economic problem where what we humans want for goods, for services, for resources is way more than what's actually available. And when we say resources, we're not just talking about money. We're talking about time, labor, raw materials, you name it. And this brings us right to the core of what economics is, at least according to Robbins. It's the science of choice. It's all about studying how we, as humans, behave when we're faced with these scarce resources that could be used for all sorts of different things. How do we decide?
Okay, so if we're living in this world of scarcity and we're constantly forced to make choices, what's the real cost of making a decision? Because it's not just about the price tag, right? This brings us to one of the most important ideas in all of economics, opportunity cost.
So here's the deal with opportunity cost. It's the value of the next best thing you had to give up to get what you wanted. Every single time you choose one thing, you are, by definition, not choosing something else. So let's say you decide to spend your Saturday afternoon playing a video game. The opportunity cost isn't $0. No, it's the value of the movie you could have gone to see, or maybe just the amazing nap you gave up. It's the path not taken. And this idea, it's not just for your weekend plans. It scales all the way up to entire countries. So let's look at a classic example to see exactly how opportunity cost shapes global trade. Say a country can make either wine or cloth. How should it decide?
Okay, so check out this classic example from the economist David Ricardo. Now, at first glance, you look at this and think, well, Portugal is faster at making both wine and cloth, so they should just do it all themselves, right? But that's ignoring opportunity cost. When you crunch the numbers, it turns out both countries are way better off if they specialize in what they have the lowest opportunity cost in, what they give up the least to produce. For Portugal, that's wine. For England, it's cloth. And this very idea is basically the foundation of all modern trade. So we've seen how scarcity works for you and me and for trade between countries. But now let's zoom out. What happens when we apply this to the massive, society-wide decisions that governments have to make? I mean, think about it. A country's budget is the ultimate scarce resource. So governments are constantly facing these huge opportunity costs. Do you put more money into pensions for the elderly or into new schools for kids? Do you focus on alleviating poverty now or invest more in higher education for the future? Every single choice to fund one thing is a choice not to fund something else. These are the really tough, real-world trade-offs that scarcity forces on us. But here's the thing. For centuries, we've pretty much thought about scarcity in one way. Limited stuff we can take from the planet. Think oil, minerals, land. But today, we're facing a completely new and honestly a much bigger problem. The problem is no longer just a scarcity of sources, the stuff we take out of the earth. It's a scarcity of sinks, the planet's ability to absorb all the waste we produce from our economic growth. We're literally running out of the planet's capacity to soak up our pollution, our carbon, our garbage. We are pushing these planetary systems past their breaking points. The new scarcity, it's a scarcity of clean air, a stable climate, and healthy oceans. So this massive planetary crisis, it kind of forces us to step back and ask a really big question. This whole idea of scarcity, this unlimited wants versus limited resources thing, is that some timeless universal truth about being human? Or is it just an idea we came up with?
And here's the real twist. It turns out this idea of scarcity as insatiable wants versus finite resources, it's not some ancient truth. It's actually pretty new. It only became the central idea in economics back in the 1870s. Before that, people had totally different ways of thinking about our relationship with the world.
You can really boil it down to two competing worldviews. On one side, you have the cornucopians. This is the view that's pretty dominant today. It's all about mastering nature, believing that human ingenuity can always find a way to extend our resources. Then, on the other side, you have the finitarians. They emphasize that there are very real limits to our power over nature, and that we need to learn to constrain our desires and live within those limits. And so that leaves us with a really important final thought. Our ideas, they literally shape our world. The cornucopian idea of scarcity, well, it's fueled centuries of amazing growth, but it has also brought us to a planetary crisis. So here's the question. If the way we've defined the problem has now become part of the problem, what new idea do we need to come up with to lead us out?